Merci. Bonjour tout le monde. Excusez-nous pour le léger retard. On s'est un petit peu emmêlé les pinceaux sur les horaires. On a 30 minutes ensemble. Je vais prendre 5 minutes de votre temps. Je me présente Samuel Després. Je ne suis pas exactement de chez Manage Engine. Je travaille pour une ESN qui s'appelle By the Way. On est basé dans le nord de la France. On est revendeur et intégrateur de l'ensemble des solutions de Manage Engine. D'accord. Manage Engine a un portfolio de solutions, environ 54 solutions qui sont destinées aux services d'infrastructure. Ça veut dire quoi? C'est-à-dire qu'on va avoir des solutions comme Endpoint Central qu'on va vous présenter aujourd'hui, qui est une solution de gestion de parc unifiée, smartphone, tablette, workstation, serveur, l'ensemble dans une seule interface, avec la possibilité de faire beaucoup de choses, on le verra tout à l'heure ensemble, et surtout des axes de sécurité très importants, avec la détection de vulnérabilité native directement depuis la solution. Endpoint Central, il existe vraiment plusieurs features qui vont devenir vraiment intéressantes pour votre gestion de parc et qui vont compléter peut-être des choses que vous connaissez comme iTunes ou autre. Là, on va vraiment être multiplateforme, d'accord? Ça veut dire qu'on va être capable de travailler sur du post type Windows, Linux, macOS, sur toute la partie serveur et tous les OS de téléphone, ok? Il est apparu maintenant depuis quelques années sur la partie gestion unifiée de l'ensemble du parc, ce besoin de faire remonter des informations de type de sécurité. C'est-à-dire, est-ce que le poste est dans un bon état de sécurité? Donc, on va remonter et analyser l'ensemble des softwares qui sont sur le poste et des configurations éventuellement sur les serveurs. Et au travers de la solution, on va pouvoir patcher, évidemment, pour corriger et aussi envoyer des configurations d'optimisation, de tuning pour pouvoir vraiment protéger au maximum les postes. D'accord, donc je vais laisser mon collègue vous expliquer plus en détail l'ensemble des briques qui sont présentes dans la solution.
Merci Samuel. Bonjour. I am Anand Joseph Raj. I've been associated with Manage Engine for 8 years now. So I'm an expert on the unified endpoint management and security products. Also, I'm responsible to assist our customers across the European region to implement Endpoint Central to ensure the endpoints are secure, managed, and also they meet their compliances. So today I'll be taking over a quick demo on the Endpoint Central and its capabilities so that it can help administrators to manage and secure their endpoints with help of our products. So a quick overview about who we are and what we do. So Manage Engine is a division of Zoho Corp, so where we deliver IT management products. And there are also other divisions within Zoho that helps businesses to ensure other areas of expertise are covered, like Zoho for business productivity applications and Quintel for orchestration workflows, Trainer Central for all your training and certification programs, and Zakia, which is a modern retail POS systems from Zoho. And today with Manage Engine, I hope my colleague covered the different domains that we serve the products for. And I'll be focusing on the unified endpoint management and security aspect. So within the UEMS, which is Unified Endpoint Management and Security, so we have different point products catering to the specific requirements of businesses. So we have mobile device management, patch manager plus, catering to dedicated patch management. And there is also security line of products which focusing on ensuring resource management like application control, device control, and encryption management, browsers management. So these are all different point products that we cater from Manage Engine. And today's focus will be more on the Endpoint Central, which unifies all of these capabilities in one solution. And to be noted, we also provide MSP solutions who manage their own clients. And talking about Endpoint Central, it's available both as an on-prem solution that you could host in your own environment or your private cloud in AWS or Azure. And we also have a hosted version which Manage Engine takes care of it completely. And the Endpoint Central will be a unified platform which helps you to ensure the endpoint management, your user experience in terms of the digital workspace management, and also ensuring security on top of it, along with the management aspect. So all of these will be available in your unified platform of Endpoint Central. And these are some of the devices that we support. So be it desktops, laptops, POS machines, handheld devices like your tablets, mobile phones that are running different flavors like Windows, Mac, Linux, iOS, or Android. All of these device types can be managed from a centralized location. And the beauty of Endpoint Central is that you will have a unified agent. So even though we have different set of management and security aspects that we are covering, all of these requires one agent to be running on the endpoints in order to facilitate these management actions. And we start off with the patch management, which is one of the more important aspects of the security of endpoints to ensure that we are not open to any vulnerabilities associated with our endpoints. So I'll be jumping on to the product interface here and there so that you can get a feel of how the patch management and control looks like. So Endpoint Central has a detection logic employed in itself, which provides the administrator with the visibility of what patches they are missing in their environment. So with help of this insight, they can scan the endpoints and plan the deployment activities to ensure these regular security and non-security updates for both operating system as well as the third-party applications are deployed to your endpoints in a planned manner. So along those lines, you have the deployment capabilities to install patches manually, as well as you could have an automated workflow in place to ensure that you create an activity and leave it to do the rest of your work. And you might also expect on the staging aspect, before deploying patches to your production, you need to test them in a smaller group. So the test and approve option lets you to define the pilot group and ensure that these patches are vetted properly before deploying it to the production environment. And the flexibility with the patch management, it lets you define when you expect your patches to be delivered to your endpoints. So as a business, you cannot do it whenever you like. So you can plan a proper maintenance window or downtime and then define the schedules in which you expect the patches to be deployed. And there are also additional controls during the deployment where we notify end users about the deployment. So this improves user experience, also involving them in your management activities. And apart from deploying and delivering patches to the endpoints, this also provides you with some additional controls like declining patches. So if you come across certain newsletters from Microsoft or your security manager that some of these patches are problematic and should not deploy it, we can decline those patches to the specific group of endpoints, preventing them from being deployed. And on top of this, if you have accidentally deployed it for some reason, you can also do the rollback actions from the interface itself. You could find which patches have been already installed, and you can simply create an uninstall action for that patch so that it automatically identifies the machines where they are installed on, and the rollback action will be done automatically. So that's on the patch management aspect. And along with this, we also have the application control and privilege management. So this ensures that the businesses are running only the applications that are required for the business. You know, users having privileges, they might sideload additional applications without the knowledge of the administrators, right? So to prevent that, application control lets the administrator decide which applications should be allowed and which applications should be blocked. So we can create an allowed list and a block list, ensure that what as a business we need is included in that group. And when we apply this policy to the groups, we can define whether the policy should be executed in an audit mode, in which, except for the block-listed application, everything else will be allowed. So this method allows the administrator to identify what unknown applications are being used by the end user. So we call this as a gray listed application, which is not present in the white listed group or the block listed group. So this helps them to identify those applications, and later they can decide whether it should be allowed or it should be restricted with the block listed group. So this helps to identify that. And there is a strict mode where, except for the allowed list of application, the rest of the applications will be blocked. So this ensures that only the business applications are being running on the endpoints. So this also contributes to the application control. And other than this, we have the privilege management. So this privilege management control helps you to achieve the least privilege concept in your endpoint. So you don't need to have users with administrative privilege. So they can be a standard user, but still they could run applications as an administrator with the elevated privileges through this privilege management. So you could identify some of the applications that might require administrator rights to run and add them to the privilege management list. So when the users on the end clients, when they are running the application, they can elevate their privilege as a manage engine user. So this helps you to make sure that the users need what they want, but with limited privileges. So that's on the application control aspect. And moving on, we have the mobile device management and security. So this helps you to make sure that your handled devices, be it company owned or the corporate, the employee owned devices, are also managed here. So this helps us to ensure that even though the corporate data is accessed on a personal handled device, the company could have some kind of controls on how that data is being accessed. So we have both BYOD management and corporate management supported. With help of BYOD management, we can containerize the management on the device, isolating the personal part on the mobile device and the corporate part on the device. So when, as an administrator, if I enforce certain policy or restriction, this impacts only on the corporate side of the device. So the personal space remains untouched. And if in case the user moves from one company to another company, so you can just simply wipe out all the corporate data applied on their personal device. So this again does not impact the personal part of the device. And whereas for the corporate management, we'll have complete supervision on the company-owned devices. So this ensures that the administrators are capable of enforcing any advanced level of restrictions that we can do with mobile device management. So other than this, we have app distribution that we can do silently, or we can enable the app catalog for the users to browse and choose which apps they need on their device for business. So we could do that with the app repository. And then we also support remote control for your mobile devices. So this comes with the privacy policy enforcement, where when an administrator tries to connect, the user has to accept the request. So only then we can connect the mobile device. So for company-owned devices with full supervision, we can do remote control. And whereas for the personally owned devices, it will be the containerized management, where we will be having only the remote view option. So we can see what is happening or guide the user about what we are looking for. And some other interesting controls like geofencing is also done through the MDM. So where you can create a policy to have devices restricted within a particular geolocation. in examples of some industrial businesses, they might have handheld scanners or tablets which never leaves the premises. So if in case someone takes it outside, the administrator gets notified and they could execute certain actions like get notified about it, or they want to wipe the data of it, they can initiate those actions automatically through these policies. Okay, moving on. So malware protection is again an added security component that we have included in Endpoint Central. So this malware protection has a combination of two engines. One is the ransomware engine, which focuses primarily on detecting the ransomware activities happening on the client machines and notify any incidents to the administrator. So the administrator can then decide whether to act on the incidents depending on whether it is a true positive or a false positive. So they could decide what actions to take on those incidents. For example, here we have one of these incidents identified on the endpoints. So if I mark that as a true positive, which is an actual ransomware attack happened on the machine, I get to decide whether I need to kill the process that invoked it, or I could clean up the files and add the machine to the quarantine, or do a rollback. So this rollback kills the process, quarantines the machine, and then roll back the machine to its last known good configuration. So in this particular case, we have a patented technology from Manage Engine, which takes a VSS backup of the machines every 3 hours once. So it will roll back the endpoint to one of those backups available. So whatever the end user had that at that moment will be available for them once the rollback is completed. Likewise, it's also applicable for the next-gen antivirus. So where we will be providing with AI-based or ML-based detection of malware activities happening on the client endpoints. And it also involves the MITRE and attack strategies involved in terms of penetrating the environment using malwares. And vulnerability management. So it is also part of our Endpoint Central security suite. So where it bundles with the patch management. So with patch management, you get the ability to deploy updates regularly. So you follow your sequential patching or N-1 patching with patch management. And the vulnerability management complements the patch management by identifying the known vulnerabilities associated with your endpoints. So based on the CVE score, you will identify how critical the vulnerability is and if there are any exploitation available against those vulnerability. And if there is any patch recommendation available for the vulnerability, you can also deploy those patches directly from patch management. So you don't need to download some additional files manually, or you need to refer some other sites to cross-check those data. So everything we use here will be based on the different vulnerability sources. And additionally, you also have the capability to integrate it with other vulnerability resources like Nessus or Tenable, so that all those collective data will be updated here in Endpoint Central, which gives you the consolidated detection of which are the vulnerabilities applicable to your endpoints. And not only just in terms of vulnerabilities, we also identify the misconfigurations that might lead to unnecessary attacks or privilege escalation activities happening. So this could be a simple firewall rule or a simple port that is accessible, or you're using an older version of protocols. So these things are known to the administrator, but not very much focused on. So this part in the misconfiguration highlights them and also helps them to deploy a secure configuration that addresses the gap. So in this case, we have this minimum session requirement for the NTLM based are not configured. So if I choose to deploy a secure configuration, it deploys the corresponding fix available for that particular misconfiguration. So in this case, the solution would be to apply this particular group policy. So the value for the encryption will be changed to 128-bit from its current value. So that's on the vulnerability management aspect and browser security module. So here, this is one of the interesting modules available in Endpoint Central. So nowadays, everyone is going cloud first. So that makes browsers as a gateway to your corporate resources, right? So in that aspect, these browsers are also considered as endpoints, and it is imperative that we have some kind of management on them. So the browser security offers control for the administrators to decide what kind of add-ons are supposed to be available on the browsers. So you can add any extension or plugin on your browser that you wish for, but we may not know what kind of permission or what kind of data these browser extensions are accessing on our devices. So this add-on management helps you to define the business required add-ons to be allowed, and we can ensure that when we deploy a policy, we can choose which permissions should be blocked specifically. So some of these permissions, like say location tracking or access to the file manager on the endpoints, so it could be misused by anyone who has the permission. So preventing those permissions will ensure that the add-ons are running with limited capabilities on them. So we can allow or block extensions or plugins on the browsers, and also ensure we allow business authorized browsers. So if your business runs primarily on Edge or Chrome or Firefox, so you can make that as your official browser by enforcing this browser restriction. So any unknown browser that you don't recognize can be blocked with the browser restriction capability. And also we can do web filtering, so where we can restrict access to business sites, or entertainment sites or social media sites during business hours. So the restriction will be enforced only during the business hours, and if it's outside of the business hour, the users will still be able to access them. So these restrictions can be enforced using the browser security. And additionally, we also provide web activity tracking for the end user. So primarily with the browsers like Edge or Internet Explorer, we can do the web activity tracking, showing which websites the user has visited and how many times they have visited. So this information will be accessible to the administrators through browser security. And then this part is the software deployment, where we use application distribution for Windows, Mac, or Linux. So this helps you to package your applications with Endpoint Central. So the packaging part is made simplified for you, where we use the templates that Manage Engine supports. So this is a one-click package creation. So where some of the common applications that we use will be supported here. And using this information, we'll be able to package them and distribute it to the end user on demand. Or there is a self-service portal option available, where we can publish some common packages to the end users, so that they themselves can access the self-service portal from their agent menu, and whatever the package the administrator has published for them, they can install it on their own. So this also doesn't require any elevated rights for the end user to install applications. And the asset management part, so this is the inventory part that comes with Endpoint Central. So as a basic action, after you onboard your clients, we capture the machine attributes like the softwares, hardwares, the security status of the endpoints in terms of encryption, firewall status. So these information will be captured through the agent and will be available for the administrators to view them at a quick glance here. So these are the common views that you get: computer, hardware, software, that gives you a wider visibility of what is available in your environment. And based on this, you also get some out-of-box reporting options that you could use to audit your endpoints. And this reporting also comes with a customization option. So you could mix and match your conditions and criteria to build your own reports and also have them scheduled to be sent out on a particular frequency. And then the remote control part. So this is one of the more important tools that our customers like to use. So where with the tools we do the remote desktop sharing of the endpoints. So the administrators can choose and connect which endpoint they want to work with. And this remote connection works as a shadow user session. So that means if I am connected to one of the endpoint, I could see whatever the end user is currently doing on their machine and even take control of it. And if you're even running any elevated actions as an administrator, you can still interact with the UAC prompts that you get. So there is no kind of screen block or freezing happening during this remote session. And for auditing purpose, we can also have screen recording options enabled. So this ensures that the activity done by your administrators are also tracked and available as an audit information. And this part is about imaging your endpoints. So when you are provisioning or reprovisioning your laptops, the OS deployment will allow you to ensure that the users have the necessary data on their laptops when you image them. So we do zero-touch deployment and also standalone deployments using the OS deployment component. And additionally, we have a lot of integrations with other help desk tools and orchestration tools that extends the capability of Endpoint Central, not within the solution, but also with other products here. So some of the notable integrations are with the help desk tools like Service Desk Plus, Jira, and the ServiceNow, so that these products work hand in hand, so that the help desk technicians can easily access a resource from Endpoint Central to close their tickets effectively. And finally, I would like to share some quick strategies that you can use our products to secure your endpoints. So now most of the attack surface can be classified into these quadrants here. So we have the known knowns that user or the adversary will know, and there are the unknown known part, which are questionable and we know but we don't understand it, and the complete unknown part, which nobody knows except for the threat actors. So all these quadrants can be addressed with Endpoint Central using these specific suite of products that we have. So each and every product will address some of these quadrants. However, with Endpoint Central and the security suite, it covers all of these quadrants to ensure your endpoints are secure. Thank you.